actually was something that I got from the last social media monitoring conference I was at when I heard the results of people who were sharing ROI and saw that most of it wasn't really about financial results. They were really about optimizing business process. And so I was going to go into this, and then I'm going to give you some additional information that's not in this deck. The situation today is that we're capturing a fraction of the data we need. And a couple of months ago, I wrote a paper with Compete on social media ROI and capturing what I called ultraviolet data. This was data that basically is all kinds of data. We know how many people are in this room because we count people coming in, and we might know everybody that's tweeting here, but there's a lot of other data about, let's say, what's happening in this room right now. We might not be able to capture all of it. But that doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that it's what I call ultraviolet, meaning that we can't see it because we don't have the right devices to capture it. And one of the things that occurred to me in the work I did with restaurants and monitoring, which I've talked about a bit, was that there was a lot of data they wanted to capture that we weren't capturing. We didn't have the device. So here's a paper that I wrote about that. If you want to go on to Scribe, and this presentation is posted, I believe, now on Scribe also, and the link to the paper is there too. It's been read a couple thousand times. A good place to start is that. Now, one of the things I realized in coming here was that you want ROI, and ROI is really difficult to measure because social media really isn't a financial kind of thing. Like your friendship is not worth $50. A good cup of coffee might be worth $3. But it's a qualitative type of thing. So likes, friends, shares are not things that today are easy to really put any kind of financial value into. And because of that, they don't fit in well into an equation where there would be. And so that's a problem. I mean, it's not that you can't say something is worth something and then put it in an equation. The fact of the matter is you don't know what it really is. It's not like a cup of coffee at Starbucks that is $3, or it's not like a bunch of traders trading stock and at any moment of time agreeing that a stock is worth as much as people want to pay for it. There is no exchange right now for this stuff, so there's no valuation of it. So it doesn't really easily lend itself to the financial type of thing. Optimization, yes. Saving money in customer service, yes. But how much money is sitting in the bank because of it? Not really, except in some very closed-loop cases like in e-commerce. But most of the time, that's what we have. So in the formulas I looked at, which I talked about in my paper on Scribe, were like the altimeter, WebAlex Demystified ones that got some popularity in social marketing. That didn't work for me when I tried them. And I did a webinar with Compete about that recently, and I got some good feedback on it. So anyway, this is a yellow brick road. And where to start, and I think the initial place to start in trying to get to an ROI number is that analysts will begin with their own initial assessment of a situation before they even go in. So, I mean, before you even talk to anybody, you should actually have done some research before you ever meet client A. And so that when you first meet them, you can ask them some questions intelligently. And then most of the time those people aren't, your client A is not going to know what to tell you. And so you're really going to have to dig down deep and learn what is important, which will then bring out some questions that you can then do some monitoring about, and then maybe you can get some ROI out of it. But that's something that came out of just talking to people, realizing that the research has to begin even before the first meeting. Because if you don't have it in the first meeting, it's too late. You won't be able to get the questions out will say, like on the agency side, and on the client side, that the relationships that go back and forth between both are often not also conducive to gathering that information. The people who typically are on the agency side don't know how to collect it. The people on the client side don't know how to give it. So it's difficult. So I mean, the monitoring is only as good as the ability to get those questions and stuff. So I mean, if you don't get that, the rest of it's probably not going to be that good. But once you have that assessment, you can pose the right questions and either move forward in measuring ROI and what I call reverse ROI. I think if I write this, I'm writing the first book on social media analytics to be published by Gregor Hill next year. Still 2 months away from heading into manuscript. But I think the second book will be about reverse ROI. It's the ROI of things that really don't have a hard value because there's no market to assess value. Although there are people, honestly, who think that a friend is worth so-and-so, and there are some studies that came out. So reverse ROI are actions that strengthen brands, and you need to listen to those, but they're not things that it's easy to put a dollar value on. Again, you can make one up, but you'll be making one up. You may know something, but it's still not the same thing as a bunch of people agreeing it's worth $5. Use listening systems to find common ground between analysts and organization. Actually, those aren't my words, but it does seem like we need to speak the same language if we're going to get this information. So again, this part of it is just about gathering information. And I'm going to go into the other part, which is actually more exciting, which isn't in this presentation, but some research that I've done. But I wanted to at least take you here and tell you what. So getting the business and measurement metrics goals aligned. This is something that I speak a lot about in my paper. And I give some examples of it. That social media ROI is about getting business process and measurement process together. And this sounds kind of abstract, but it's really not. And I give a couple examples of that. In the restaurant where I was doing social monitoring in New York, we had a page for events where, not events, but just where you could, if you wanted a catering job, you want to get a quote from Havana Central, say, for a catering job. And that would generate an email that would go to a lady that would get that email. There was also a lady that I know that was doing social media outreach at the time. And she was generating leads. But these people didn't talk to each other too well. And there was a spreadsheet that was not really kept very well. And so there wasn't really any good way for these people to communicate. They didn't communicate well. So there was a measurement goal that wasn't really stated, but it was the goal to record these things. The outcome was that the two people didn't talk to each other. And you can see that kind of problem in organizations all the time when, not only are business processes not defined, but measurement processes attendant to those business processes. And the right people talking to the right people just aren't aligned. And when I said aligned like this, I meant very well aligned, not just, it was like my favorite painter, Cezanne, who said that